welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be quite a different video actually than I've been doing recently. Today, guys, we are going to be counting down the top 10 most hated players in the championship. So I do get the impression that this video could throw out quite a few differing opinions in the comments down below, and I'm very interested to hear some of your guys' opinion on this subject. But what we're going to be doing today, guys, we're going to be counting down the top 10 most hated players in the championship. Obviously, this list is totally subjective, and we've got players in there for different reasons, really. So the players in this list are the sort of players that when your team comes up against them, you absolutely hate this sort of player. They're a nightmare to play against, and you just don't like them generally. But when these sort of players are on your side, you absolutely love them. And the amount that other fans hate these guys even more, that just makes you love them even more. So what I'll be interested to know from you guys is, who is a player who currently plays for your football club who you think fans of other teams really don't like, but that only makes you go ahead and love them even more? For me, it's got to be Ben Pearson at Preston. You know, opposition fans absolutely hate the guy, and we might even see him appearing on this top 10 list, but that hatred that other fans have towards him, it just makes me love him even more. And obviously, don't take this list too seriously. You know, we're just doing this for a bit of a laugh in today's video, guys. And so if you do go to enjoy the video, guys, make sure you leave a like, as well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular championship content. So I'm interested to know who are your most hated players in the championship, guys. But without further ado, let's jump into this list. So coming in at number 10 on the list, we are actually kicking it off with a Preston North End player. That is going to be Jordan Hugill. And of course, myself being a Preston fan, after the game, you know, when I'm looking at reactions from different fans, after we play the game, Jordan Hugill tends to pop up a lot, especially with the opposition fans talking about him. So far this season, he's already picked up 8 yellow cards, and just generally his play style, you know, he's a very much in-your-face striker, very much a physical presence on the pitch, but when he does get pushed, you know, he may go down a little bit easy now and again, let's just say that. I think the thing that epitomised Jordan Hugill really was, again, not too long ago when we were playing Cardiff away. In the later stages of that game, we just scored a late goal in that one. We were trying to waste a bit of time, and Jordan Hugill, he may have took that too far, I'm not going to lie. I mean, you could say he is one of the ultimate time wasters in the championship. The game against Cardiff, he went ahead, he was sort of pushed very slightly over the advertising board at Cardiff, and then instead of just getting back up and getting on with the game, he went ahead and rolled back onto the pitch just to waste more time for Preston, and it was pretty spectacular. I think it's fair to say fans of other clubs didn't really appreciate that. Then coming in at number 9 on the list, we then have Henri Lansbury, and I mean, first of all, with Henri Lansbury, he once had this haircut. Do I even need to give any other reasons why he's on this list? But I will do anyway. Henri Lansbury generally isn't really liked by many championship fans, you know, especially after that game he had last season when he was playing for Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. The Newcastle fans really don't like Henri Lansbury. He managed to get 2 players sent off in that game, which it looked like he did dive twice, I'm not gonna lie, and then after that, he seems to have a little bit of an arrogance about him, Henri Lansbury. People just don't tend to like him. Then coming in at number 8 on the list, we then have Alioski from Leeds United. And I'm sure Leeds fans absolutely love this guy because on the whole for them so far this season, he has been absolutely spectacular. But when you're an opposition fan and you're watching Alioski play, you don't like this sort of player. He's a player who, let's just say, he goes down incredibly easy. For example, this dive against Sunderland right here. Oh my, I just laugh every time I see that clip because it is just so ridiculous. But Alioski, it's fair to say, he does over-exaggerate quite a few things, which leads to opposition fans really not liking the guy. Then coming in at number 7 on the list, we have the second Preston player actually. That is going to go ahead and be Ben Pearson. And opposition fans, they really do hate Ben Pearson when he plays against them. He's a defensive midfielder, obviously, and I think it's fair to say he's not shy of a yellow card. Already this season, he's gone ahead and picked up 9 yellow cards and 1 red card as well. So when it comes to going in for a challenge, he does not hold back at all. Last season in the championship, he went ahead and picked up 14 yellow cards, which is pretty mental, I'm not gonna lie about that. But he's an absolute cult hero at Preston, but fans of other clubs, they really don't like the guy. Then coming in at number 6 on the list, that is going to be Jack Grealish from Aston Villa, and actually playing very well for Aston Villa at this point in time. But nevertheless, in the whole players in the championship in general, overall, Jack Grealish generally isn't much a very liked player, you know. You just have to, some of his dives over his career, they've been quite questionable, you know. He does tend to go down quite easily now and again when he does get a knock. As well as that, his socks. What are his socks all about? They annoy me, his socks. I don't know what they're all about. He wears them literally down to his ankles. I don't know what that's all about, but that's the reason he's getting onto this list. Then coming in at number 5 on the list, we are then going to have Joe Garner, of course currently playing for Ipswich Town now, of course. With me being a Preston fan, I used to absolutely adore Joe Garner, and there is still a part of me which does still love a little bit of Joe Garner, but opposition fans absolutely detest this sort of player. In his last season with Preston, actually, he was actually the most fouled player in the Championship, but had also committed the most fouls as a striker in the Championship in that year. So with Joe Garner, the swings and roundabouts, when you have this sort of player who he completely wears his heart on his sleeves, but when he does get a push or a pull in the back, he will throw himself to the ground, you know. He's not going to be a person who's going to stay on his feet if he has felt a touch from somewhere. So that's something that really annoys opposition fans, and just his overall play style, you know. He's very much in the faces of other defenders, loves arguing with the ref, you know. With the amount of bookings he actually got for dissent with Preston, you couldn't count it. It was just off the scale. Then coming in at number 4 on the list, we then have Lee Tomlin, currently playing for Cardiff City. And Lee Tomlin, he's not a very well liked player in the Championship. Over his career, he's been guilty of quite a few dives, I think that's fair to say, you know. Probably one of the more notorious people who will go down if he does feel the slightest hint of contact anywhere on the pitch. As well as that, he was also, back in November, I think, involved in a court case surrounding an alleged assault around a nightclub and things like that, and overall, just not a very well liked player. Then coming in at number 3 on the list, we then have Fernando Forestieri, and I'd actually be very interested to hear some Sheffield Wednesday fans' opinions on what you actually make of Forestieri. Throughout his career, he's been involved in a lot of controversies, you know, from when he was at Watford to now being at Sheffield Wednesday. You know, opposition fans just absolutely hate this guy, and why he's actually quite funny is I believe the last 2 times that Forestieri has played against Preston at Deepdale, he's actually been sent off both times, which is pretty mental, you know. He's quite a notorious diver in the Championship, although some Sheffield Wednesday fans will argue that that's not the case, but I'm not so sure. I've seen some pretty concrete evidence that he does go down pretty easily. He also refused to play for Sheffield Wednesday at one point in time when he was looking to get a better contract from the club. As well as that, there was also the training ground fallout between Forestieri and Sam Winnell, which consequently resulted in Sam Winnell being loaned out to Derby County, where he's currently doing very well for them, actually. So Forestieri, throughout his career, probably made more enemies than friends, I think that's fair to say. And then in at number 2 on the list, guys, we then do have John Terry. Now, I think there is a thing with John Terry where, as a player, you respect John Terry, you know. As a centre-back, he's probably been one of the best English centre-backs of all time, really, you know. He's been absolutely magnificent in his time with Chelsea, and I'm sure that all the Aston Villa fans absolutely love him, but with some of the stuff he's done off the pitch, it's just not many people like John Terry. Of course, there was the whole thing with Wayne Bridges' ex-wife and the affair and all that stuff. I think it was back in 2012 or 2011 when he racially abused Anton Ferdinand, and then there was the whole debacle, of course, with him winning the Champions League and then getting his full kit on despite him not actually taking part in the game itself. So John Terry, there's 2 aspects of it. As a player, you respect him. As a man himself, you don't really like him, do you? And then to finish off the list for the top 10 most hated players in the Championship, it has to be Lee Cattermole. I mean, let's be fair about this. I don't think I've ever heard an opposition fan, someone that doesn't support Sunderland, to go ahead after a game and say, you know what, fair play to Lee Cattermole, you know, I really like the guy, he's a really good player. You just don't hear that sort of stuff. He's in the top 10 most yellow-carded players in the Premier League of all time. It's fair to say he likes putting his foot in on players and has, you know, injured a couple of players over his career, and he picks up a lot of yellow cards, and overall, people just don't like the guy. So guys, there you have it. That will wrap it up for this top 10 video. So like I said at the start of the video, this was just made as a bit of a joke, really, but I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Is there any players in the Championship who you really can't stand? And let me know down below who's a player who you think opposition fans absolutely can't stand, but you yourself absolutely love them. So guys, like I said, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. I should have another transfer rumour video coming out tomorrow as well, so you got that to look forward to. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.